They have copies of it.
Yeah, everybody's got copies of everything. And it was in Excel, so they can go into them with it.
6 o'clock.
I'm gonna have to gavel in, all right. All right, I will call to order the Ravenna City Council meeting for Monday, July 3rd at 6 p.m. The first item on the agenda is a moment of meditation and silence. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Calfrey?
Here?
Ms. West?
Here.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Here.
Mr. Karas?
Here.
Ms. Wood?
Here.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the approval of meeting minutes from the regular city council meeting of June 5th. Were there any additions or corrections to those? Do we have a motion to accept as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
On the communication side, in your packet, you should see the letter from Nancy Kessler regarding the Reed Memorial Library renovation project. I don't believe there's any other communications. Is there any delegations from the public that would like to speak this evening? In your packet, you should see the report of officials. Was there any questions regarding those? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept those as submitted?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And committee meetings will be July 10th. So on here it says the 17th, and you should have received the email from Chelsea a couple days ago. It was bumped up to the 10th. So next week, July 10th for committee meetings. I just want to drive that home. Beginning with utilities, Mr. Moskin.
There will be nothing for next week, and along with that, on the third reading, you can just delete that, because that's not ready to go for ordinance.
Okay, well. Information systems, Ms. West.
No meeting next week.
Planning, Mr. Karas.
Nothing on the agenda for tonight, but we will have a meeting next week.
All right. And committee of the whole will be Monday, July 24th at 6 p.m. Moving on to public health and safety, Ms. Michael.
Yes, we have several items, and we are going to have a meeting next week.
Please talk into the mic. Can't hear you.
Okay.
You're not into the mic. Pull the mic to you. Please.
All right.
Sorry about that. I don't know why. Mine must have a different volume than others, I guess. I don't know. Okay, we have 3 items, I believe, today, and we also have several items that are going to be before us next month, so.
Thank you, Ms. Michael. Streets and sidewalks, Mr. Harper.
No items for consideration this evening, and I believe we will have a meeting.
Personnel, Mr. Calfee.
We will not have a committee meeting next week.
And community and economic development, Ms. Wood.
We have 1 item this evening, and there will be items next week.
Any updates on the cemetery?
A little bit. The finances are still doing very good, and there will be 4 trees that will be taken down in the near future. As soon as Lumberjack Tree Service can get in and do that, a lot of money for that is $11,250. These trees aren't just taken down to take them down; they are in the danger state, so they're rotten quite a bit.
All right. Anything you want to add?
I believe the paving also is gonna happen, the main drive. I believe that was, came in at budget, and so that will take place later this summer. That's
great.
Much needed.
2 to 3 weeks.
And that'll be on the agenda for next week. Okay. Parks and Rec, Mr. Calfee?
Parks and Rec hosted their second annual summer celebration at City Park on June 2nd. It's kind of the end of the school year, beginning of summer celebration, second annual. Had several hundred kids participate in it. We also partnered at that time with Reed Memorial Library for a number of reading activities, book giveaways, summer reading program sign up. In addition to that, we also had representatives from a number of other different park districts there to provide activities for the kids. Brimfield Park District was there, Kent Parks and Recreation was there, and the Portage Park District was also there. So it's a great turnout, a good event, and it's second annual, and we're going to keep doing it. So it's going to be in the future. And then also this past week was Safety Town. We ran a big Safety Town, and we want to thank the volunteers from the bus garage and police and fire for working again with that project, Safety Town.
All right, thanks for the update. And with that, we'll move on to first reading of ordinances this evening, beginning with ordinance number 2023-84.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for a fire EMS grant through Firehouse Subs for the purchase of miscellaneous fire EMS equipment in the fire department and declaring an emergency.
And this is sponsored by Public Health and Safety. Ms. Michael?
This is just applying for a grant. There is no match, and we've usually apply for it every year.
All right, any questions from council on this item? What was that? Hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then a motion to pass the ordinance.
So
So
move.
moved.
Second.
Yes. And Ms.
Okay, Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. We only got a couple items on the agenda, so if I can make a request of council, since you've been kind enough to fill in this evening, if you could just make the motion and then just say your last name, that might be helpful.
I can see you guys. I know Amy.
I've been in that seat once, and that's enough for me, so I appreciate you filling in tonight.
Okay, no problem.
But moving on to ordinance number 2023-85.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the Ohio EMS grant award in the sum of $731.33 from the Ohio Department of Public Safety and declaring an emergency.
All right, and also sponsored by Public Health and Safety. Ms. Michael?
And this is also just to accept money for equipment, no match.
All right. Any questions on this item? Hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So move. Wood.
Second by Michael.
Okay, Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfie?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved, West.
Second, Karas.
Get it?
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfie?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Sorry, yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Thank you.
And then do we have a motion to pass the ordinance?
So move.
Second.
Wood.
And
Harper.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfie?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. Moving on to ordinance number 2023-86.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor upon the approval of the Ohio Public Works Commission, OPWC, grant of $250,000 and a loan of $50,000 to enter into the necessary contracts, including the contract with Carville Companies, Inc., for the Meridian and Murray Waterline Project and declaring an emergency.
And this is sponsored by Utilities, Mr. Moskin.
Yes, this is, that way Carvo Company, their water project can get started soon, to replace the water lines. It's not just the water line, the service to the residents and also the hydrants, valves during this project. That way they can get started in the near future.
Any questions from council on this item? Anything we're missing, Bob? Okay. Do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved by Michael.
Second, Moskin.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Since I live on Murray Avenue, I resoundingly vote yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Accuse yourself.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So move, Wood.
Second, Moskin.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then do we have a motion to pass the ordinance?
So moved, Calfee.
Second, Karas.
Excited.
Sorry.
It's the little things.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. Moving on to ordinance number 2023-87.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to sign a memorandum of understanding between the City of Ravenna, Ohio, and the Portage County Regional Planning Commission to create a comprehensive plan for the City of Ravenna and declaring an emergency.
And this is sponsored by Community and Economic Development. Ms. Wood?
Yes, long time coming. I'm really excited that we're finally at this stage and get started on the city's comprehensive plan. We've talked a lot about it for, I feel like, a couple of years. It's been going on, so looking forward to it.
Any questions from council on the MOU? Hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved, West.
Second, Moskin.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So move, Wood.
Second, Michael.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then do we have a motion to pass the ordinance?
So moved, Calfee.
Second, West.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. Moving on to ordinance number 2023-88.
An ordinance adopting the 2024 tax budget for the City of Ravenna and declaring an emergency.
All right. It's sponsored by the Finance Director. Mr. Huff, can I pass this to you?
Yes. We talked about this at the last meeting. This will set the base budget for 2024. It'll get amended in March of next year, but it'll set us for the beginning of the year and get us going forward. As I said last time, the budget for both the revenues and the expenditures are significantly less than what we have for '24 because of the less projects and grants that are within this budget for right now. But that'll change probably as we amend the budget into next year.
Any questions from council on the budget? Anything in it? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved, Calfee.
Second, West.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second, Wood.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Calfee?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And then do we have a motion to pass the ordinance?
So moved. Harper?
Second, Wood.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Karas?
Yes.
All right. That ordinance is adopted. That's everything on first reading of ordinances this evening. Moving on to second reading, beginning with ordinance number 2023-78.
An ordinance appropriating the sum of $3,516.79 from the General Fund 101 for a moral claim to cover the cost of damages caused by a sanitary line backup at 225 Lincoln Avenue and declaring an emergency.
All right, and this is sponsored by Utilities. Would you like to leave this here for third reading?
Don't have to. I received a message from the service director, it wasn't today, that she is behind this. What I mean is supporting paying the $35,1679 to, I believe it's ServPro Company, for the cleanup itself, not in replacement of any articles that they had damaged. So I just wanted to emphasize that.
Well, especially if we were going to bring it back to committee and raise it anyways, if we were going to raise the amount of what we were going to give back as,
Moral claim.
yeah, moral claim, I don't know why we would make the residents wait, and if we know we're going to do it, so, or our intentions are to do it. So I think if the service director is now supporting this,
Yes.
I would personally vote for it.
Anyone else from council? I agree. I'm on the same boat,
Well,
in the same boat.
Yeah, I don't see we need to drag this out any further.
And-
Too much.
And the reason I'm in favor of it as well is because I understand how these things happen.
I've always struggled with the fact that it's been determined that it's really not a city liability. And again, you know, I would just refer back to the fact that we pay for insurance.
But
And
insurance,
then the insurance says it's not our responsibility, and then we pay the claim anyway.
they do deny a lot of stuff, though, and we pay anyway.
Well, I don't know, for a situation like this. I mean, I struggle because I don't know that there's necessarily fault involved by the city. The employees did what they were supposed to do.
Yes.
So how does that mean, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of just on the fence. I'd like to hear what other people think, if they have similar concerns.
I'm along the same lines as you, Rob. I feel like if our insurance is not willing to cover it because we're not liable, and the service director said we did everything appropriately on our end, we handled it correctly, therefore we didn't do anything wrong to cause it. I do agree with the moral claims if that's at the discretion of the service director, but our current moral claims is 1,000, and I would be fine with that. And I think increasing it, I would be okay increasing it, but to what extent? Are we going to increase it to 3,500 for everybody on everything, or are we going to come up with a different amount? And I think, to be fair, we need to make that consideration before we would approve this higher. It's just my personal feeling.
I want to believe during the last meeting, it was, I don't know if it was 3,000 or 3,500 that was the recommended.
I know it wasn't,
Amount.
35,
okay,
To move it up
I
to.
thought it wasn't, I thought it was a different number than 35.
or
but-
maybe it was 3,000, I don't remember. But still, I know it was very strongly encouraged because the price of things. So, and at the last meeting, the service director really didn't give her input too much. So for her now to give her input, I trust her opinion on this. And it's not my job to decide, you know, whose fault, you know, I just go with their discretion, so.
I share Mr. Karis's concerns about the events where it's not covered by insurance and we are paying it. But I go back to, we caused it. I think we caused it.
I know we didn't.
An action took place by the city that stopped up the line, and the problem happened. So maybe it's a matter of semantics, whether you caused it or we caused it or not, but the basement got damaged.
I don't know that we can say the city caused the original, blockage. We don't, it could have been residents throwing things down the toilet that shouldn't have been thrown down the toilet. We don't know, but we do know that in the process of clearing the blockage is when.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I struggle with it, because
Yeah.
it was an action taken by the city that caused this, resident to suffer this damage. But then, what else could we have done differently? If nothing, then why did, I don't know. So you're in favor of it then?
Yeah, I will
You know-
vote yes for it, because I look at the homeowner's situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything, and
Yeah, I
my
get
basement's messed up, but it's very confusing about
The insurance.
Too much
talking about fault. Maybe this is an issue that we just don't talk about fault, but in any similarly situated case in the future, then we're going to need to pay for it.
Yeah, well,
It
that's the other
appears.
thing. It opens a door
Yeah,
to,
so-
as sort of a precedent.
But yes, I am in favor of paying for this claim.
Anyone else have any thoughts on this?
Okay.
We're comfortable with voting for this tonight, so do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second,
Harper.
Michael.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Ms. Michael,
Yes.
Mr. Calfee,
Yes.
Ms. West,
Yes.
Mr. Muskin,
Yes.
Mr. Karas,
Yes.
Ms. Wood.
No.
Then do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So moved. Michael.
Second, Moskin.
Ms. Michael,
Yes.
Mr. Muskin,
Yes.
Mr. Calfee,
Yes.
Ms. West,
Yes.
Mr. Karas,
Yes.
Ms. Wood,
No.
Mr. Harper.
Yes.
Then do we have a motion to pass the ordinance?
So moved. Harper.
Second, Michael.
Mr. Harper,
Yes.
Ms. Michael,
Yes.
Mr. Calfee,
Yes.
Ms. West,
Yes.
Mr. Muskin,
Yes.
Mr. Karas,
Yes.
Ms. Wood,
No.
All right. That ordinance is adopted. Moving on, well, that's everything in second reading of ordinances. Moving on to third reading of ordinances, where we have one agenda item, which is ordinance number 2023-40.
an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with CT Consultants, Inc. for a wastewater treatment plant assessment and declaring an emergency.
All right, this one we do have to take action on, but sponsored by Utilities. Mr. Moskin.
Okay, there is technically not enough information to pass this today.
You mean there's no contract?
There is not. There's nothing in writing.
Well,
What's going on?
we do actually have a contract stating the county is responsible to pay their portion. We determined that to be 34% of the 160,000. However, I feel more comfortable when the commissioners sign a letter of intent to move this forward. They are obligated, but I would like it streamlined. And
So
for them to agree that that is exactly what we're reading.
Yeah, beforehand, there was some question, right, whether they were going, so now.
We met with them and they agree they are responsible for, we
Okay.
determined what their percentage is and it ends up being 34%.
So what's the process now that, and by the way, this was brought back, wasn't it sent? I don't remember what the process was.
So I think, and that was going to be my next
It wasn't
question.
on last month's agenda.
Well, it's sat here because it's on third reading. So it'll be, we'll send it back to committee for next week. And if the contract is there for next week, or the letter of intent that you're comfortable voting on, then you're also, correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll need a special at some point before the August meeting to approve or consider the paving for the cemetery. Is that right, where we could take this up if we intended to move this forward?
Correct. I would like to have a special council meeting Monday night, the 10th.
The
For
10th,
the
okay.
cemetery, police department parking. And if we're going to do that, then I would like to have us, at the same time, do Prospect Chestnut paving also.
Okay. So that might be at
Do we
least
vote on something? I
logistically.
mean, what happens when something's on third reading and we're not ready to take action?
If it takes another month, then we'll just
Yeah.
start over if we have to.
It wouldn't be surprising if it goes into August.
Should we make a motion to send this back to committee?
That's what I was just going to suggest,
I
if you want to
move-
formally, yeah.
I move that we send this back to committee. Cares.
We-
Second, West.
I think that's just a voice vote. Well,
Mr.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You
Mr.
roll.
Karas?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Mr. Muskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
All right, that will go back to committee for next week. Is there any old or new business to come before council this evening?
I have a couple topics. I believe it'd be under new business, unless there's something else under old first.
Not on my end.
Okay. The first thing, I know up at City Park, there are several tree stumps that have been left there from trees that have been cut down over, I'm not sure exactly how many years. And I believe these tree stumps need to be cut down and ground down. I would say some of it would be for safety purposes. I believe it makes a big difference to take down a stump all the way, grind it, and not just leave it there. I don't mean stumps that are just sitting like that. Some are up here.
I know those, you're talking about the outside, I'm trying to picture where these are.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're not going to spot them when you drive in. As an example, let's say the first parking area that you go into on the right. If you get out and you walk down toward the fence, these aren't at the fence. So they're between that area, and then also the majority would be going to the west.
Well, Mayor, is there any plans on those then?
Judy, I talked with her, it's been a couple of weeks ago, that at that point in time, the concern was the fence, where the tree was taken out on Jones, behind a house on Jones Street. I didn't know anything about the stumps, and I did not talk to her about the stumps. At that time, the problem was getting the fence repaired. So I can't answer that question.
Okay.
I'm saying this too because I believe it's only proper, when you have a tree taken down, it should go all the way. I mean, as far as grinding the stump and having it finished.
Okay.
Because I've seen that done where a city tree is taken down in a yard, in someone's yard, but it's a city tree. When that's finished, someone comes by with a stump grinder just to finish that off, and it ends up looking really nice. So if it's done in someone's yard that's a city tree, why, I believe it should be done on city property as well. And not just left. Take the tree down, finish it off. If that company doesn't, whether they have a stump grinder or not, bring it by whenever and have it finished.
And you said you had 2 items?
Yes, the other one was in front of the courthouse, by the sidewalk, where the sign is and in the area of the bus stop. Okay, there's cigarette butt containers. Those have been used, but there's a multitude of other cigarette butts. I don't mean a few dozen, it's far more than that. Around that area, on the sidewalks, around the sign, plastic cups, different paraphernalia like that. And I notice this is, when I say going on for a while, I believe it's, I'm gonna say probably more than a week, couple of weeks. So my question is, I believe it should be looked at, possibly a couple of times a week, cleaned up, whatever it takes to clean it up, just to make things look really nice and attractive, so that if people need to sit on a bench or something like that, if they're waiting for a bus, whatever the reason, that way it looks attractive and they don't mind being there, since it's right there exactly in the perfect spot in the middle of town.
And currently, do we have, I guess on that note, is it Republic that's responsible, or does the city go around every once in a while to clean up the downtown area then?
Republic, they stopped twice with the door. And Kay was working on this particular thing. She's not here tonight because she was on a vacation from last Thursday to Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Yeah, she sent me an email.
Yeah, but
on
she is in the process of working on that. It's my understanding that Main Street put those holders for the butts up out there. I have personally, I have a gentleman that stops here rather regularly. He's not homeless, but he always needs money. I have paid him on occasion to go over and clean that up. And I have paid him, not the city, with that. But when Kay gets back on Wednesday, we're gonna address it and remedy it. The service department used to send the guy with the billy goat up once a week in the summertime.
At one time, it was twice a week, I know, at
Well,
one time, but that's probably subsided.
Yeah, it's not a living billy goat. It's the name of the piece of equipment.
You don't want to be eating cigarette butts. That's
Yeah.
probably good.
They'll eat anything.
I would be substituting manure for cigarette butts then, with that. But I agree with Paul's position on it. We need to address it. Quite honestly, I'm a little disturbed that we've had a couple of cigarette butts right outside our door the last couple of days. And I'm working on tracking down who that is, because it has to be somebody that's coming in here, or they're spending the night out there and then leaving the cigarette. But we haven't had a problem like that there. So we'll be on it, and we'll get it taken care of.
Yeah, Kate had responded, just so you know, back to me when I sent her pictures when I had received the complaint, and she said that she was gonna have a city worker come, and I believe they did get it swept up.
Yes,
They did at that time, but I don't know if the city workers are, I'm not sure what their schedule is now, if that is something in their normal routine where they come up, but that area probably should be swept because of the amount of people that have been sitting there and the amount of smoking that's going on there. Because there are, visitors that are coming in from the courthouse, and there had to be at least 1,000 cigarette butts there, so.
Well, we've had this problem around Homes Savings, and they put out the butt holders.
It
And
doesn't help, but
and,
those were overflowing too.
Yeah, they just flick them and let it go.
A lot of these were in the grass around the sign. There's where the,
I have to tell you, I've got them all through my devil strip on Freedom Street, too.
in the area where there's vegetation planted. But that's all I wanted to say about that.
Oh, we'll address it, Paul.
Okay.
And I'm not taking issue with you on the stump grinding. I just don't know whether the circumstances were that the tree had to be taken down when the weather was real bad, and they say they'll come back. I've had trees taken down, and they get there to get the tree down. It's a lot harder to get them back to grind it. So I would assume that the grinding should be part of what they turn in.
It should. There's
pay.
several stumps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you done?
Yes.
I do have a quick question for new business. I was just wondering, with the new park that's going to be across the street, since it's labeled as a park, will Parks and Rec be responsible for the maintenance of the park? Or will it be the city workers who will be responsible for the maintenance? Have we defined that yet?
That has not been defined yet.
Okay, I was just
Yeah,
wondering.
no, we're working.
That would be something I wondered even too, if it could be even jointly done. I don't know.
That's probably how it will be done.
Because,
I would
yeah, that
think.
was a concern. Okay.
Because if we get plants in there that have to be watered, that can be time consuming. But if we put it in there, it's got to look good all the time.
All right. Anything else this evening? Well, I have nothing on my end, so Mr. Harper, moving on to council remarks, anything you'd like to say this evening?
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Yeah.
Enjoy, be safe.
Yeah, remember, don't drink and drive. It's not worth it out there, so be careful and have fun.
Yep. All right, Mr. Karas?
Nothing for tonight.
All right, Mr. Moskin?
Nothing else.
No additional comments?
Ms. Wood?
Happy Independence Day.
All right, Mayor, I'll throw it to you then.
In the spirit of the holiday, I'll be quiet.
Leaving a bang.
All right, well, with that, one more chance, Mr. Semino, to come in. Do we have a motion to adjourn then this evening?
So moved.
Second, Wood.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.